Okay, so today we are going to look at how to do Crystal Sage as the third boss in the game on a typical Twin Blades run. So Sharp Sword, Sellsword, Twin Blades with +3, not +4. So you can skip the Baron Keep Tower. These don't matter. I've got Grass Crest on, you don't need it. Chloranthian Flins. You don't need Chloranthian Flins. I'll explain what you have to do shortly if you don't have Chloranthian Flins. The strat works essentially the same either way, but regardless of whether you have Flins or not, you want 20 dexterity. And yeah, so this is, like, I'm making this video because I think a lot of people don't use this method that I'm using here. Some people are a bit skeptical of it, maybe. They don't know where to start with this particular method, which is the 2 teleport, just straight L1 method. I can assure you it's entirely consistent to beat Sage this way, and it's actually a lot easier than I think a lot of people think. So anyway, we've got Chloranthian Flins here. 20 dex. Yeah, so let's go. So I'm going to demonstrate a fight, and then I'm going to kind of break it down in detail how it works. I've got no idea what RNG is going to give me at the start, of course. That is the hardest part. But we're going to go in and we're going to attack him 4 times, and then we're going to try and read the crystal formations that come. So this is fairly typical RNG. You can run around that first one. And then we stand at this point here, and then we read the crystal formation. So don't worry, I will explain. We'll explain how the crystal formations work. I probably should have done an L1 there instead of an R1. But it's fine with this amount of damage. Without Chloranthian Flins, you might have needed to have done an L1 there. But just go through what we did there. So you run in, you sprint to this, the Crystal Sage. Depending on what RNG he does, you have to deal with that. And then as soon as you have full stamina and you're in front of him and he's not attacking, you do 4 L1s. Get to this point here. Now, a lot of people do this strat going from the other side. I'm not sure why people do that, like, but, you know, I've only ever done it this way. And from what I've heard, there's a bit of a kind of weird meme that can happen after the second spawn if you go the other way. I'm not sure if there's a way of avoiding that, but I've never seen it doing it this way. So from what I understand, this way is actually more reliable. But regardless, you're standing about here, anywhere in this corner, and you'll see some crystal formations. So basically, the crystal formations are either two crystals pointing towards the door, or one crystal just at the doorway. There's also one far away at the left, but that will usually not be on your camera view if you get the one at the door. So if you get the one single crystal at the door, it means he's right on the right hand side, as I just showed. If you get the 2 crystals kind of pointing towards the door along this direction, if there's a big gap between them, it means he's all the way in the corner. If there's a smaller gap between them, then it means he's over here. If there's a smaller gap between them, and it's so much so that you almost can't get through this way, then it means he's over here. Then in the second phase, you get around to this position, regardless of whether you kill him, and you're basically looking along this line. So I look along this line towards that end pillar, and I look for crystals. So you'll see, sometimes you'll see like a crystal really close, and then a crystal all the way at the end near the pillar. That means he's at that pillar. And important to note, in phase 1, Sage will spawn not where the crystals are. In phase 2, Sage will spawn where there are crystals. That doesn't mean where there are crystals the Sage will be, but that's a thing to keep in mind. So you look along this line, you see a crystal really close to you, and then right at the end. That means you've got to run straight forward. Sometimes you'll just see a crystal even closer, kind of about here, and no crystal at the end. That means he's all the way over the right. And then sometimes you'll see a crystal more towards the middle, like it's around here, this area, and that means he's at the left. which sounds probably very complicated, but don't worry, because I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to try and demonstrate every single crystal pattern, and possibly every opening RNG to Crystal Sage, though I cannot promise you that I am any good at dealing with the opening RNGs. Though, of course, you'll get these opening RNGs regardless of... yeah, so I think you kind of want to, like, try and strafe... yeah, you want to strafe all those orbs. Kind of like I did just there. That's probably not the best way. But yeah, so we saw one crystal at the end. And that just means he's over here. Okay, we made a mistake then. So we attacked too early. We're going to attack again. The timing is extremely important for when you start attacking, and I'll explain why in a second. That was, if anything, a little bit late, but it was alright. So the timing for when you start attacking out of these spawn points is ultra important, but you see how I've missed it early, basically twice? That's because missing it early, you will not get penalized. All you have to do is just get another L1 in. If it's phase 2, you might be in a position where he disappears again, in which case you can just homeward burn. But getting it too early is, like, not a problem. Anyway, so we go over here. That was a bit rough, but we did it. So yeah, we see this line, and they're fairly close together. So we can go for that. So as I say, the timing of when you attack them is important. You've got to start attacking right as he's appearing. Don't just wait for him to appear and start attacking. Like, that is actually perfect timing. I just did. That's the timing you should be going for, the timing I just did. If you're too early on that timing, then you just have to get another hit in. Maybe an L1, whatever. If you're too late, like if you're much too late, then you can get hit by Fire and Flash Sword. So I did already demonstrate how to avoid Fire and Flash Sword, but it's basically just attack at the right time. So this attack, oh my god, wow. Wow. What a fucking meme, Jesus Christ. Okay. Massive gap there, so we're going over here. I can't believe we saw that. That's extremely rare. I cannot believe we saw that so early in the run, in the demonstration. Okay, we're in trouble here. But yeah, so again, we got early, and we just went for another hit. The reason, as I say, why I'm going early so often is because you don't want to be late. If you're late, that is when, like, 1 in 10 times you get hit by the Fire and Flash Sword. But I have not been, I can just tell you right now, I have not been hit by Fire and Flash Sword in a very long time. You don't have to watch on, but be careful about attacking through that, like, big orb that he does. But yeah, we're back here, big gap, means we go over here, and that's perfect timing again. And then just one crystal at the end means he's all the way over here. And that was more or less perfect timing on every single one. As I say, the timing isn't, like, the timing is kind of exact, but to get it perfect, but if you're a bit too early, it's not a problem, so that makes the timing a lot less exact. But yeah, so that was a very, very funny opening. You see that extremely rarely. Okay, so I'm gonna, like... Okay, this has been extremely nasty. Possibly I could have been a little more aggressive, like I could have dealt with the soul orbs better, but that was about the worst you can do. So, small gap is over here. And yeah, the one crystal kind of towards the middle, slightly further in the middle. This is over here, and we got it. So this is with Chloranthian Flints. I'm going to show some examples without Chloranthian Flints. Just to like prove it. So again, 20 decks. I mean, without Corinthian Flints, maybe you can get away with... I'm not sure, but like you should be able to get 20 decks here. Maybe without Corinthian Flints. You don't need 20 decks, but basically you just go over here, you wait for the guy to de-aggro, and then you run in. Once again, we've got this, and we're gonna... Okay, we didn't get enough hits there because I kind of went for a hit a bit early. So I'm going to try and get a little more damage here. Okay, this is really Homeward Bone territory, honestly. Like, this territory is Homeward Bone territory. And then, yeah, definitely Homeward Bone territory here. I've got to find out where he is. I've actually got no idea. Yeah, this is... I should have Homeward Boned. I should have just Homeward Boned, to be honest. But that's like... Yeah, that was a mistake right on the first phase. That's why you Homeward Bone. If you don't know phase 3 crystals, you could just learn phase 3 crystals. But I never learn them because normally for the strat it isn't necessary. But yeah, regardless, we're gonna start again. It's just kind of wanted to see whether I could get it or not. But yeah, that's standard RNG. You can run straight in. Big gap between the crystals. Once again, means it's in the corner. The clue there is basically that the crystals will kind of block you from going here. A bit. I mean, you obviously still can go here, but the crystals will be kind of blocking your way if there's a smaller gap. And that's the clue that that's not where you want to go. So yeah, like, you get these different RNGs. We've seen all of them, I think. At this point, I want to show a few more examples of this, just so that I can, like, show Fire and Flash Sword interruption. Because it should normally be on the third L1 that you interrupt Fire and Flash Sword. But yeah, like, I can assure you just this timing is good. You will interrupt Fire and Flash Sword. There we go. Yeah, that's an example, right? So, perfect timing, you interrupt Fire and Flash Sword on the third hit. If you're too fast there, like if you're too early, you'll still interrupt Fire and Flash Sword, it's not a problem. So yeah, we're doing it with Chloroflins now. Okay, so you can kind of stand over here. Okay, that was a fuck up, actually. Alright, so I'm not really very good at the opening. I'm gonna do one more after this, just to prove I can do the opening. But the point is to prove like that you can do it with +3. Like, the bottom line is the opening you have to deal with no matter how you approach Sage, no matter how late in the game you approach it. And to me, that is by far the hardest part. But if it, you know, these crystal patterns, they can be learned. You do it this way, you'll notice how I have not been... Well, okay, I did get hit that once because I didn't Homeward Bone. Just Homeward Bone. Like, just Homeward Bone if you have a problem. And then you just have to deal with a slightly harder opening then. Got to be a bit careful about that, because sometimes he can, like, not teleport and do another attack. This is an honest tutorial where I actually allow myself to get hit a couple of times. Yeah, so this is basically it. Like, and it's a really neat technique. Makes the opening by far the hardest part. That's a nasty one. Okay, I almost ran ahead a little quick there. Yeah, you can also fire and flash sword over here as well. Yeah, I do want to see another fire and flash sword before I finish this video. It's stupid, but I'm gonna try. The point is you can always interrupt it. But I'm gonna see. So what do we have? Okay, run. Run over here. I bet he's gonna do fire and flash sword on phase 2 again. Yeah, I think it's actually you see the fire and flash sword if you're a little bit later, I think. But regardless, like it's avoidable. Stick to roughly the timing that I'm doing, and you will not get hit by fire and flash sword. You also won't get. You shouldn't like get hit by any like stray attacks from these two. Be careful about the fire and flash sword there. This is gonna be the last one. Okay, big gap or small gap even. Yeah, it's because I'm hitting early that I don't get the flash sword. I think I interrupt it on the second hit, if it happens. But yeah, that's it. That's how you beat Crystal Sage +3, with or without fins. Goodbye.